As you know, I like to have people be sensitive to the fact that certain body sensations are emotional in origin. And I have a hypothesis that when people are noting those emotional feels, that in fact what's happening in the central nervous system is activation in what's called the limbic system, and that there is a distinct neuronal apparatus that underlies the emotional type sensations in the body. And emotional sensations in the body are hugely important in my way of thinking in terms of their influence on human perception and behavior. So as people work with this category of the emotional body, or feel space, as I call it, you might think, well, as the result of meditating as the years go on, things get sort of mellowed out, cooled out, that kind of thing. But actually, what happens typically is that you get strange changes that are sort of weird for people. And they take the form of things that would really, really, really bother anyone, like don't bother you, or not much. But the flip side is that little things can cause these huge explosions of somatic emotionality. And you wonder, it's like, what's wrong with me? What's like sort of happening to me? So what I tell people is, if you work with the emotional body, one thing that you can expect is that things will change. But you can't predict what direction that change will take in terms of, are things going to be more mellow, more intense? Are the flavors that come up going to be more appropriate or inappropriate? They seem to go through wild fluctuations. And it's important not to freak out when this happens and wonder, what in the world is going on. I would say there are some things that we can say are long-term trends. Absolutely, definitely long-term trend. Uncomfortable sensations are going to become less problematic for you. And absolutely long-term trend, pleasant emotional sensations are going to become more fulfilling for you. However, in terms of local fluctuations, don't be surprised if there's some really weird, chaotic kinds of things. What to do if that happens is simply recycle the reactions. The model that I like to use is that we have within us this freaked out infant animal deep down within. As we meditate, we develop another self, which could be called the meditator self, or the concentrated, clear, equanimous self, or the witness. And at a certain extreme, we'll call that the no self, or the higher self. So what happens is that this super-adult part of us shines its attention on the freaked out infantile animal part that remains. And integrates, or we could say even metabolizes, or if we wanted to be a little more poetic, we can say eats up, literally nibbles away at the freaking animal infant within. And as this higher self or no self or meditator self, as it's sort of like nibbling away at this freaked out infant animal, it's deriving nutrition from that. It's growing, which is good. And the freaked out animal infant is shrinking, which is also good. Except as it shrinks, it drops to even more primitive levels, okay? And that's why you get this weird sort of like, oh my God, what do I have inside of me kind of thing. So it's actually a sign of progress. The surface of the freaked out animal, infant, okay, it's like getting integrated. Its energy, what the energy bound up in it, is going into the superadult. That's good. But you sort of like nibble away a layer, so it shrinks, it's smaller. In a sense, its influence over you is diminished, but it exposes a more primitive stratum. And so it goes until you sort of work your way through this aspect, which might take a while. So as you get closer and closer and closer to becoming completely free, you're now exposing more and more and more chaotic, intense levels of pure body emotion. So this model helps me to have a conceptual framework for why it sometimes seems that the tiniest idiosyncrasies of a person are sins crying out to heaven for vengeance, or why, why someone can insult me with all kinds of lies on the internet, and I don't even give it a second thought. But if somebody cuts me off in traffic, it's like, that's huge, it's like, like I'm gonna kill them, it's like, it's like weird, okay? That seems to just be the way it works. I just wanted to share that for those of you that are wondering if you're on the way to the booby hatch. No, you're on the way to the source. But as they say, membership has its price. So you're joining the club. Many, many, many human beings have taken this path. So welcome to the club, but membership has its price.